Did you miss us? Well, we're back. It's the bottom of the sixth crew on Mondays. Didn't get to be with you guys last week because of MLK Day, of course, but we're here for a fresh season of bottom of the sixth with me, Blake Neiman, alongside my two co-hosts, Benjamin Paris and Dylan Oliver. Guys, it's great to be back.
It is great. I'm excited to be back.
Happy to be here. It's a staple in my life, a staple in my week to talk sports with you guys, and proud to continue the iconic tradition of bottom of the sixth.
And new to this year is going to be Hymn of the Week. It'll be at the end of the show.
Oh.
And so we will check back on that. But of course, we're going to start off the show with nothing more than the divisional round of the NFL playoffs. Lots of stuff going down and some contenders falling and some contenders are rising, and the results of the games: 49ers beating the Cowboys 19-12, Eagles crushing the Giants 38-7, the Chiefs escaping the Jaguars after a scary injury to Patrick Mahomes and his ankle, was able to power through it 27-20, and then the Bengals dominate the Bills 27-10. Which would you say out of those four outcomes surprised you the most?
I would have to go with the Bengals and Bills game because I thought those were two of the best teams in the AFC. I mean, they were two of the best teams in the AFC as they were the 2 seed and the 3 seed, and I just thought it would be a much closer game than it was. I mean, the Bengals really dominated in pretty much all aspects of the game all the way throughout, as we saw in this game, as it was a 3-possession game, with it being in Buffalo, in the snow. Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, that whole team, I thought they were going to really come out fired up, get it going, and they just weren't ever. They were just flat the whole entire game, but Burrow and this Bengals offense and this Bengals defense came out to play, and it's what they did, and now we get another Burrow-Mahomes matchup that I really cannot wait for.
Yeah, I absolutely agree, and I think anybody who's listened to Monday Bottom of the Sixth knows that I've been on the Josh Allen train pretty much the entire season. He was my early MVP candidate, and I was a huge Josh Allen guy. I really thought the Bills were going to be able to make that game more competitive, and for a while it's like, all right, they're down 2-3 scores, like there's a lot of time left, but as the time winded down, they didn't get any closer. So I thought, okay, like a team can get down big. We've seen the Chiefs do it time and time again, especially in the postseason, but the Bills just were never really in that one, which was definitely disappointed. That was a game I think we were all excited to watch on Monday Night Football 2-3 weeks ago, maybe a month ago, whenever it was. And I was excited to finally see it happen. I even was, excited that it was in Buffalo because I wanted the Bills to win that game. But I was kind of left disappointed in that one. It's kind of surprising to me that the Jags of all team put up a better fight in their game than the Bills did.
And honestly, I think in the situation of the Bills game versus the Bengals, what I found, what most shocked me and most kind of hit with me was the confidence of the Bengals. More so than the Bills losing, I think the confidence of the Bengals team has shined through in the postseason. From last year when they've gone on the road throughout the postseason from the wild card, this year they're doing the same thing, with the exception of the first game in their wild card. But last year they went all the way through in the wild card. And now to go into Buffalo, it's their conditions, their house, with it snowing, all of that happening, and Joe Cool just comes in and acts like it's any other game. I just think the confidence and swagger of this team, it's almost cocky, just the way they walk around themselves and hold themselves to such a high standard. And it honestly, if I was a Chiefs fan right now, I would be scared because it's similar to last year. Last year, the Bengals had nothing to lose, and they were really playing with that nothing to lose mentality. And this year, they still were kind of went under the radar at the start of the season. They really caught life at the end of the season, and I think them in Kansas City, it's going to be a great game.
Yeah, and it was wild right at the beginning of the season. We were like, okay, like they lose in overtime week 1. Okay, they start 0-2, they lose to the Cowboys, they beat the Jets, rightfully so. But they lose to the Ravens, they lose to the Browns. I mean, for a second, when they're floating around a little bit below, a little bit above 500, you're like, oh, there's no chance these guys can go to the Super Bowl again. Like, whatever happened last year, like that's great. I don't know if it can happen again. And at the same time, because you always follow your Super Bowl champion as well, the Rams are just playing awful. Like, they just play themselves out of contention. You're like, oh, the Bengals are going to do the same thing. I mean, they're just not winning big football games, but here they are again in a conference championship, playing their best football at the end of the year, which is what you're supposed to do, kind of catch some heat. And if you told me a month into the season, I don't think I would have seen it.
Yeah, I mean, the Bengals are absolutely terrifying. Joe Burrow is a guy that just goes in and wins. And the later into the season we go, the more confident the Bills are. I mean, look at it last year when they were in the divisional round of the playoffs. Evan McPherson came out there and said, "What? Oh, I guess we're going to the AFC title game." And now this year, it's like, once again, they are going to the AFC title game to play against the team they beat last year in the exact same place, still in Arrowhead, to go to the exact same game. I mean, if you look at what the Bengals have done this year, it's very similar to what they did last season. Wild card round against a team that could beat them, but you don't really expect to. That defense makes a huge play at the end of the game to win it. Last year, it was the pick of Derek Carr. This year, it was the fumble of Tyler Huntley to return it. And then the next one after that, they just play a great game in the divisional round to now go and play the Chiefs and try and get their chance at another Super Bowl. They're just a dangerous team. I love Joe Burrow, and I love this team, but I don't know if they can beat the Chiefs again.
And there was a sick video of him yesterday where it was during warm-ups where he like throws the ball
and then just spins.
Yeah, immediately does a 360. The snow's falling, and I was like, oh, that's him.
He's just
so
a cool dude.
I go, oh, he's so him. But like, he's excited to watch. And the other thing this week, I think this is why Joe Burrow will probably be him of the week at the end of the episode, was the Pledge of Allegiance video with his mom. Go, this is my son Joe. He's gonna do the Pledge of Allegiance.
We can't nominate Burrow for him of the week because we know he will win it every single solitary week.
That's true.
That's just
true.
That's
He's just an almighty
given.
him.
That's just a given.
Yeah, just one last thing on that is Sean McDermott in his post-game press conference admitted that he got out-coached by Zach Taylor. And so I think you got to give credit to Zach Taylor, but you know, the mastermind and Andy Reid, it's pretty hard to out-coach that. But in the NFC, we'll shift there. There were a lot of teams in the NFC East in the playoffs this year outside of the sorry Commanders. The Cowboys, Giants, and Eagles all were in there. The Eagles and Giants played each other. Giants fell pretty badly. I don't think anyone was expecting them to make it that far. I don't necessarily know, other than Cowboys fans, had much hope for the Cowboys making the Super Bowl. But it was a pretty low defensive game with the 49ers. But now these two teams, after a lack of playoff success, I think there's definitely some big decisions to be made. The Giants situation is interesting with Daniel Jones because everyone was writing him off before this season, and he showed a lot of improvement and adjusted in the areas that he needed to in terms of the turnover problem, and he really kind of got a hold of that along with Coach Brian Daboll, who really has turned the system around. And then in the Cowboys sense, Dak Prescott has led this team no further than the divisional round, and he is under contract, but you have to question, what are these teams in the NFC East going to do with their quarterback situations?
I mean, I personally still am not a huge fan of Daniel Jones. He was honestly better than Dak Prescott was, I believe, through most of this season and the playoffs. And when it comes to Dak Prescott, there's nothing you can do about him. The Cowboys are stuck with him. He's still under contract for the next 2 years with cap hits of $49 million and $52 million. So with him, you're stuck. When it comes to the Giants, Daniel Jones is, I believe, a free agent this offseason. With the performances he had in the playoffs and getting this team to the playoffs in general, they're going to pay him. I don't know what it's going to be exactly, probably something 30-ish mil, 35 mil a year, but no matter what it is, the Giants are going to pay that man because he proved to them he can possibly be a decent quarterback for them that can win them some games. So he's going to get paid, but with the Cowboys, you're stuck with Dak for at least 2 more years, which means you're stuck with 2 more years of mediocrity and nothing past maybe the second round of the playoffs.
Yeah, I think Daniel Jones has always been a little overrated. I think he's shown some sparks of greatness, but that's really about it. I think the Giants, kind of like the Jaguars, exceeded expectations. They won a playoff game. Like, you can be happy with that. I mean, you ended your season, you're 9-7-1, and lost to, probably, arguably the best team in your conference. So it's not bad for Dak. That's an awful situation. And my favorite thing about it today was Herm Edwards was on NFL Network talking about Dak Prescott. And they're asked, like, what was your reaction? He goes, well, like, I'm a good Catholic man, so I can't say that on TV, but Herm Edwards was going to flame Dak Prescott. And I didn't even get the chance to watch Stephen A. today. I don't even know if he showed up to his show or not.
He did.
Oh, he did.
I didn't get the chance to see it. So, I assume something happened there, too. But, I mean, he's kind of overrated. I mean, this guy just can't come up with results, which sucks. And I'm trying to think of...
That's the thing.
And that's
you're thinking,
who can you
would
compare
replace
it to?
him?
Well, one
who's
going
to replace him?
But
because
who's your comparison? Like in the last 5 to 10 years,
Gino,
Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, I guess maybe Kirk Cousins, where it's like, here's your guy that can get you the playoffs, but can't win.
he's not going to get you past any further. But they're not going to get anything in the draft. They have the 25th pick.
No,
so
you
it's
can't. It's not like you're going to be able to draft a
I
quarterback.
don't think they're going to get anything better.
They could probably get
from their
Stetson
coach.
Bennett if they wanted to. Just get Stetson Bennett.
Hey,
I mean,
that's
he's
not a bad idea.
That's
I
true.
mean, Stetson Bennett is older than both the quarterbacks playing in the NFC Championship. Now, I'm
Yeah.
not saying that age equates to anything great. The guy played college football for a million years, and we've seen a bunch of really great college football quarterbacks that haven't been able to translate.
Tim Tebow.
Yeah. Recently, though, it kind of has worked out when you think about Joe Burrow, when you think about Trevor Lawrence, who's now played a playoff game. And if you look at Jalen Hurts, too, the latest kind of class for the last, 3 or 4 years of graduating quarterbacks have been pretty strong. And honestly, I wouldn't be shocked if Stetson Bennett was able to start a football game next year.
But the thing is, you also have those quarterbacks like Mac Jones or Zach Wilson. Like, the guys
Zach
you
Wilson's
named...
a dog on and off the field. He's a dog.
The guys you named were like the consensus number one overall pick with generational talent that were Heisman Trophy winners and were national champions that people knew were going to be phenomenal. When it comes to Stetson Bennett, it's...
I think he's going to be phenomenal.
Hold up.
I think he's going to be phenomenal. I really do.
Did people think Brock Purdy was going to be phenomenal? No. Mr. Irrelevant is now leading his team to the NFC Championship, although he has great pieces around him.
It's the Tom Brady story, except he's better than Tom Brady.
He's the
But
Stetson Bennett
anyway,
of the NFL.
Anyway, these late round draft pick guys, they have a chance. Tom Brady has proven the way, and Brock Purdy has now shown it later on that there is potential for these guys to be put into a backup in a system. I'd say you probably re-sign Daniel Jones, and then you bring in a competitor to push him like Stetson Bennett. I think that's a great idea.
I think that'd be a great quarterback battle, especially the New York media. Oh my goodness. I would want to go to training camp.
I buy it, Paris. I buy it.
Can I set the scene for Brock Purdy real quick?
Either way, it sounds like an 8-win season to me for the Giants if they do that. But
hey, that means Stetson Bennett won 8 football games. Brock Purdy, quite possibly him as well, and I've been saying that now. He's 7-0, I think, now as a starter. In conference championship games, rookie quarterbacks are 0-4 all time. It's Mark Sanchez, Joe Flacco, Roethlisberger, and then Sean King. They have been outscored in conference championship games 105-64. They've thrown for 4 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. Brock Purdy has a chance to become the first rookie quarterback to lead his team to a Super Bowl. Lead, asterisk, because he played half the season. But at the same time, if they go on to win, he is the first rookie quarterback to win a Super Bowl. I mean, just who is this guy? To be honest, did you know who Brock Purdy was? 9 weeks ago?
nobody did.
Exactly.
Not a single
Exactly.
person. I don't know if Shanahan even knew who this guy was 9 weeks ago.
I mean, I'm a huge 49ers guy, just because I went to the same high school as Kyle Shanahan. So, like that's just cool. Like everyone's there as a 49ers fan, so like they could play anyone besides maybe the Broncos and we all root for the 49ers. So
Broncos country, we cry.
I hope that comes back next year. Let's ride. But I'm all in on the 49ers and Brock Purdy because he really does have the pieces. And just look at that Christian McCaffrey trade now. I mean, it looked good when it happened, but now at the end of the season with a rookie quarterback, I mean, Christian McCaffrey, in a leadership sense, could quarterback this team. And just with the playmaking ability he has and the vision we know that he has just on the field, I think that they're going to give the Eagles a run. Like, that's going to be a really close game, and I'm going to be glued to the TV. This is like the first weekend I've had blocked off in like weeks between just ASU sports and other stuff. I will be glued to the TV for that game.
I agree, and I don't necessarily think it'll be Brock Purdy that'll decide the game. It's going to be the defenses. Both of these defenses, the defenses are going to decide the outcome of all these games because, as we know, defense wins championships. I think in each of the two matchups, the superior advantage is going to come on the defense. Bengals have the advantage in the AFC, and I believe the 49ers do in the NFC. But we're going to shift gears from the National Football League. A lot to unpack there. We look forward to championship weekend this upcoming weekend. But in the NBA, we are at the halfway mark of the season.
Oh, my goodness.
And thus, it's time for the mid-season awards. Who we got for the most notable honor of MVP?
It's Jokic.
Due to voter fatigue, I am not going with Jokic. If you look at his numbers, every single solitary stat is down from last year. How are we going to consider him to be better? I'm going to give this one to... I'm going to go with Joel Embiid. Joel is averaging 33.6 points per game, 4 assists, and I'll round up for him, 10 rebounds, along with a 30-16 record with second place in the Eastern Conference right now. I think the way that Joel not only impacts the offensive side of the ball, but the defensive side of the ball is why I really have to give it to him. I mean, he's averaging nearly 2 blocks per game along with a steal. So the way he can impact both ends of the court, I have to give it to Embiid over Jokic.
So he said due to voter fatigue. I'm going to say due to being a resident of Colorado, it is Nikola Jokic. I mean, he just... When you have a triple-double every single night, I mean, he is 0.1 assist away from averaging a triple-double. He averages 9.9 assists, 11 rebounds, and 25 points. I mean, the Denver Nuggets have never had an opportunity like this to make or win the NBA Finals. Jokic is playing the best basketball out of anyone, I think, in the MVP conversation. He's playing less minutes, he's taking less shots, but his efficiency is through the roof.
You're talking about averaging triple doubles and everything. Russell Wilson, not Russell Wilson. He's not. He's never done anything. Russell Westbrook.
Hey, that's a Super Bowl winning quarterback.
Russell Westbrook did that for 3 seasons. Now, yeah, I get it. You can say the argument is, yeah, but the Nuggets are the #1 seed right now. But Westbrook was doing this way before, and he was getting at least 4 seeds maybe, and he didn't get an MVP. He got 1 MVP from doing it. Are we really going to give Jokic 3 MVPs for it?
I guess this would be the year to not, but the thing is, the last 2 years, he's carried the Nuggets on his back. Like, he has been the Denver Nuggets, and the only way they've made the postseason is because of Jokic. Now he's a #1 seed, still with minimal help because Jamal Murray's not really an everyday guy right now. He's still in and out of the lineup. Aaron Gordon's playing the best basketball of his life. He just has become a smarter player, and he said in a press conference, I think it was at the end of last season, where, you know, how do you want to get better? He goes, look, man, I play with Nikola Jokic, who has the best basketball IQ. He goes, like, humble brag, I'm an athletic guy, right? Physically, I'm a specimen. It's essentially what he says. I just need to become a smarter basketball player, and that's what he did. And the moment I knew that this Nuggets team is going to go somewhere was Christmas night, when Aaron Gordon just murders a dude. And I go, that's right it. I mean, that's it right there. I mean, in terms of things going on in Colorado right now, we won the Stanley Cup last year. Like, the Avalanche are selling right now. Everyone's in on the Nuggets, and I haven't seen anything like this probably since Carmelo Anthony was here and they played the Lakers in the playoff every year. I mean, it's insane, and it's so much fun to watch. Nikola Jokic, night in and night out, and the dude has swag too. He has like this European swag where he'll show up in like the craziest outfits, and the line that got me is like, you know, it's my job. It's business. I have to show up in a suit when you're doing business. I go, I love this man to death. And like, I'm going to a Suns game tomorrow, and they're not playing the Nuggets. I'm wearing my Jokic jersey.
I love the Aaron Gordon point because he said that if he gets voted to the All-Star game, which please everyone vote him to the All-Star
We
game
need him
because
back in the
he
dunk
will
contest.
participate in the dunk contest.
We need
He
him
will
back.
win the dunk contest. He won't just be in it. He will win the dunk
Hold up
contest.
though, there needs to be a bargain. He needs to make an agreement with Zach LaVine.
Get him in there too.
Run that back like 2016. Oh, my gosh,
goodness.
with the
So
segue,
good.
you know the vibes.
One more thing I want to say on this topic of MVP. It's a guy, he's not getting consideration. He's not going to win it. But somebody who has night in and night out consistently carried his team and put up numbers and has them in somewhat of a contending spot that no one thought they would be. Shai Gilgeous Alexander of the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Yeah.
He's averaging almost 31 points per game and has the Thunder one game out from a play-in spot. I mean, this is a team people thought would be absolutely tanking towards the bottom of the league. And they are actually in contention for playoffs right now. He's been phenomenal every single solitary game. SGA should be in MVP talks, but he won't be due to their horrible record of just 23 and 24.
They beat the Nuggets last night.
They did.
And
No
what's-
Jokic, but they still got
What's
it
also
done.
unfortunate here is that Luka's having probably the best year of his career.
But they don't have the record either.
No, and he's like probably third in the MVP conversation behind Jokic and Embiid. But Doncic, who did you see that Dude Perfect
is
video
third.
with Luka?
Oh, yeah.
That the no Luka.
Yes.
That video was hilarious because he like just didn't get what was happening. The Dude Perfect guys just like took advantage of this. It was hilarious.
Some team that is also having a really bad record, but has two players in the running for awards is the Orlando Magic. In my opinion, Bol Bol is the most improved player. Last season, you know him from the Nuggets.
I'm mad that he couldn't fit in with the Nuggets.
Played
yeah.
14 games, 0 starts, played under 6 minutes game, 2.4 points, 1.4 rebounds. Now with the Magic, he's had 32 starts in 41 games, 12 points per game, 6.8 rebounds, and is shooting 58.4% from the floor. That ranks 12th best in the league. He's doing really well. And then for Rookie of the Year, Paulo Banchero. That's really no consensus
it's
right
not
now.
close.
He's running the table.
And on Bobo for just a second, when you talk about a system QB, he's kind of your system guy. Because when you have someone who's like, I don't know, 7'2", how tall is Bobo?
It's like 7'2", it's 7'2",
7'8",
something
like I
like
don't
that.
even know. I'm just making up numbers. But when you have someone that tall,
7-2.
7'2", like it does depend on the style of play, and he just couldn't play with Jokic. I mean, it just didn't work. You're a tall guy who's not super athletic but is lengthy and can shoot the basketball. It's a different style of play, and he doesn't need to be your all-star, but you do have to think about kind of putting pieces around him. You can't really just put him into any sort of system. So I think he's like your system QB.
Yeah, and with that, we'll round it off with just one thing real quick at the NBA season midpoint. We did this at the start of our first show when we had the NBA start of the season. What's our updated finals prediction after we've seen the half of the season?
I like Nuggets Celtics. Jake Seymour and I have been talking a lot about that because he's a big Celtics guy. I genuinely think that this is the year for the Nuggets to make the finals. I think Murray will be fine by the end of the year. MPJ will just like continue to be mid, but like as long as Aaron Gordon is able to score points, MPJ can literally sit on the bench and they'll be fine. I do like the Celtics in that though. Celtics in like 6 over the Nuggets will be my prediction right now.
I believe at the start of the year, I said the Warriors just because they're so good. And I said the Bucks. I'm changing both of those. I agree with you on the
Let's
Celtics
go.
and not the Nuggets, though. Non-biased, I got the Los Angeles Lakers versus the Boston Celtics.
On what planet?
After that Rui Hachimura trade, I guarantee it's going to be game-changing for the Lakers. Shannon Sharp gave a motivation on Friday. Rui's there as the reinforcement, and the Lakers and Celtics rivalry will be reignited this year in the NBA
I
Finals.
cannot take you seriously right now.
All right, I will make my finals prediction before we round off with him of the week. I'm going to agree with Ben. I do believe the Nuggets have really figured it out this year, and Jokic is going to get it done. They've slowly been climbing. They had a crazy couple of 3-1 comebacks in the bubble, and now with Jamal Murray back, once he gets healthy, they've got MPJ. They've got a rising Aaron Gordon. I think they can really put the pieces together. And then in the East, I'm just going to say Kyrie Irving's playing out of his mind right now. Once KD gets back healthy, they were really contending with the East. And I think this year, Brooklyn has really dealt with a lot of weird things the past few years. But I think Brooklyn makes it Nuggets Nets for the 2023 NBA Finals. Him of the week, it's the final poll results. We had our candidates Shannon Sharp, Doug Tamero, Patrick Mahomes, and John Rahm. The final results say Patrick Mahomes is this week's
that's
him
such
of the week.
cap. It's John Rahm, bro.
In the
it's
final
John
two
Rahm.
in the poll will be Doug Tamero and John Rahm tying for second.
Wait,
and
refresh that real quick.
You put your vote in.
I just voted.
So with Ben's vote, it's a 50-50 tie
Yeah,
between
John
Patrick Mahomes and John Rahm. Congratulations to all participants. We will have more nominees next week, but this week it's a split decision between John Rahm and Patrick Mahomes.
Spoiler alert, next week it's going to be Sami Zayn after he wins the WWE Royal Rumble.
That's going to do it for this week's of Bottom of the Six. We appreciate you all tuning in. If you miss our episode of Bottom of the Six on Mondays, we post it on the podcast on Spotify, so make sure to tune into that, and we will see you all next time.
Bye.